Have you ever been in this situation? You're very serious about intermittent fasting. You skip breakfast. You go hungry. You wait until lunchtime to eat. You follow the recipe everyone tells you. But then, your weight barely budges. You don't experience that clear mind, feeling that everyone boasts about. You only feel frustrated, tired, and craving. And at the end of the day, you're so hungry that you eat more than usual. If you're in that state, let me tell you straight, the problem is often not your willpower, nor necessarily that your metabolism is broken. It's that you're fasting at the right time, but at the wrong time. And it may sound small, but it can cause the same type of fasting. One person loses fat, another doesn't. The same 16-hour fast, but one person is like sailing with the wind. The other is like swimming against the current. In this video, I'll tell you a very simple story. Your body has its own schedule, and if your eating, fasting, and sleeping habits are out of sync with that schedule, your body won't cooperate. You'll understand why some people crave food more and feel more tired even when they fast. Why some people see a difference just by changing their meal times, even if the amount they eat remains the same. And most importantly, if you had to choose skipping breakfast or skipping dinner, which is more biologically sound. Midway through the video, I'll present a very practical experiment for you to examine. Are you fasting to be healthier? Or are you unintentionally putting your body into stress mode? And at the end of the video, I'll give you a very easy framework to apply. Choose meal times that align with your biological clock while still balancing work and family life without being extreme. Let's begin. First, let me say this briefly for safety. This content is for educational purposes only. If you are pregnant, breastfeeding, have a history of eating disorders, are taking medication that affects blood sugar, blood pressure, or have underlying medical conditions that require monitoring, please consult your doctor before changing your eating patterns. Okay, now let's get down to business. 1. The real problem. You fast correctly, but your body doesn't notice. Have you noticed? Most intermittent fasting guides just say, fast for 16 hours, eat for 8 hours. Or fast for 14 hours, eat for 10 hours. It's like a stopwatch. The number of hours is enough, but your body isn't a stopwatch. Your body is a living system. It has a circadian rhythm. It has its most active open hours for processing sugar and fat, and it has times when it wants to rest to clean up to recover. If you eat when it's ready, everything goes smoothly. If you eat when it's closed, the same meal can produce a completely different reaction. This is why some people fast all morning eating at noon, but then eat late in the evening. They eventually manage to fast for 16 hours, but their bodies still feel sluggish. Not because you're doing it the wrong way, but because you've chosen the right number but the right time. And to understand that, I'll take you through a day in your body. 2. After your last meal, your body immediately enters processing mode. Imagine your last meal as a newly arrived shipment. Your body has to sort, divide, and store it. Carbs turn into sugar, and sugar enters your bloodstream. At this point, the pancreas presses a button, insulin. Insulin is like warehouse management. Get the goods into the cells, use what you need, store the rest. When insulin levels are high, the body prioritizes processing the new shipment, and at that time, fat burning will be limited because the warehouse is busy receiving goods. Simply put, you can't simultaneously load new goods into the warehouse and open the old warehouse to use it efficiently. Depending on what your meal consisted of, this processing phase can last for many hours. A meal high in sugar, carbohydrate requires insulin to work longer. A meal with sufficient protein, healthy fats, and fiber is usually smoother. And here's a point many people overlook. You skip breakfast, but then drink coffee with sugar, condensed milk, or other sugary drinks. You think you're fasting, but your body receives a signal. There's something new. So, your fasting clock runs, but your body's biological clock doesn't follow. 3. The 12 to 16-hour cycle. Why do many people only feel discomfort, not activated? Now we come to the part many people hear. Around 12 to 16 hours is when the body switches fuel. Yes, basically. After a period without further intake, the body starts drawing more from its reserves. But there's something you need to understand. Reaching the threshold doesn't automatically mean a miracle. Because if you ate late, consumed a lot of sugar, or snacked excessively beforehand, you enter the fasting phase with your stores in disarray. Then, you'll experience what many people consider a failure: tiredness, irritability, cravings, and a somewhat muddled mind. And here's the first mini cliffhanger. There's a way to turn 16 hours of fasting from torture into easier breathing, not through willpower, but by placing it in the right place throughout the day. I'll explain in more detail later. 4. Two people. The same 16-hour fasting, but different results. Now, I'll tell you about two scenarios. Scenario A, you skip breakfast. Eat your first meal around 12 p.m. In the afternoon, you still have a light snack. In the evening, you eat your main meal at 8 to 9 p.m. or even 10 p.m. Then you fast until noon the next day. You still achieve 16 hours of fasting. Sounds right? Scenario B, you still eat enough, but eat earlier. You eat your first meal around 9 to 10 a.m. or 10 to 11 a.m. You eat your last meal earlier, around 5 to 6:30 p.m. and then nothing else. The two people might fast for almost the same number of hours, but their bodies receive different signals because your body has a 24-hour rhythm called the circadian rhythm, and that rhythm directly affects how you process food, especially blood sugar and insulin. Simply put, morning and evening are not the same body. There is evidence that glucose tolerance is poorer in the evening. In one study on circadian rhythms, the post-meal glycemic response in the biological evening was about 17% higher than in the biological morning, even with the same meal. In simpler terms, for the same meal, eating later is more likely to work harder for the body. And if you're fasting type A, eating late, you might inadvertently fall into this situation. You fast intensely during the day, but at night your body has to process a heavy meal right when it wants to rest. You're like forcing a factory to run a night shift every day. Then you wonder why it doesn't increase productivity. 5. The skipping breakfast or skipping dinner. Experiment and the deception. Now, I'll ask you honestly, if you had to choose one of two, skip breakfast but eat dinner late, or eat breakfast, lunch fine but skip dinner, or eat dinner early, which would you choose? Many people choose to skip breakfast because it's convenient. Mornings are busy, work is easy to skip, and evenings are family and social time, so it's hard to cut. But from a biological perspective, current data suggests that eating earlier in the day and allowing the body longer rest periods in the evening, night, may offer metabolic benefits. There's a study on pre-diabetic men. Same amount of food, same dishes, same calories, just different times. The group that ate within the early window, eating within 6 hours, dinner before about 3 p.m., improved several metabolic markers, such as insulin sensitivity, blood pressure, oxidative stress. Although they didn't necessarily lose weight immediately, Science Direct, Jai. I'm not saying you have to eat before 3 p.m. as that study suggests. It's quite extreme in real life. But it raises an important point. It's not just how long you fast, but when you fast that makes the body cooperate. 6. Why does eating on time have such a big impact? Imagine your body has two modes. Daytime. The activity mode, processing, moving, working. Nighttime. The repair mode, cleaning, regenerating, deep sleep. When you eat late, you inadvertently push the processing mode into the repair mode. It's like making the cleaning crew clean, while also serving customers, carrying things, and arranging items. The result is often shallow sleep, tiredness upon waking, strong cravings the next day, and the cycle repeats. On the other hand, when you eat earlier, you create a truly peaceful night. Your body has a chance to switch to using more stable reserves, and many people feel lighter the next morning. And here's a very interesting point. Some studies on eating habits over time show that many people think they eat normally, but in reality, their eating window lasts almost all day. One survey tracking eating habits found that some people eat for about 15 hours a day, and only a small percentage hold out for 12 hours or less. Coxet. This means many people are eating almost from morning till night. The body rarely gets a real break. So sometimes you don't need to fast excessively. You just need to close the eating window a little earlier, a little more regularly. 7. But I've fasted for 16 hours already? This is why you still don't see anything. Okay, back to the most painful question. I've fasted for enough hours, but why am I not losing fat, not feeling more alert? There are 3 common reasons. I'm speaking from real-life experiences. Reason 1. You fast during the day, but then eat a large, heavy meal later in the day. You fast out of endurance, and then eat a large, vengeful meal at night. Your body doesn't enter relaxation mode, it enters coping mode. Reason 2. You fast, but energy still sneaks in. Coffee with milk, low-sugar soft drinks, small snacks, candy, yogurt. You think it's insignificant, but your body only needs a small signal to revert to processing mode. Reason 3. You choose a meal window that's out of sync with your own circadian rhythm. You might be suited to a light breakfast, a main lunch, and an early dinner, or to 2 midday meals. But if you deliberately skip breakfast to eat late at night, you're choosing an option that's easy for your work schedule, but difficult for your body clock. And here's the second mini cliffhanger. No need to change your whole life. Just change one thing, the last mealtime. I'll give you a super easy gradual translation framework later. 8. What people call autophagy. How should we understand it correctly? In the world of fasting, people often mention autophagy, cellular scavenging, which sounds like superpowers. I'll be honest. This concept has a biological basis, but it's been hyped up as magic. You should understand it in a balanced way. When the body doesn't receive continuous nutrition, it tends to increase maintenance mechanisms, recycling some damaged components, cleaning up, optimizing. The intensity of fasting varies from person to person. It depends on sleep, exercise, and energy reserves. There's no magic hour that applies to everyone. So if you treat fasting like a switch, turn it on at 16, max it out at 24, you're likely to be disappointed. A better approach is to view it like a dimmer, a knob that gradually increases the intensity. The more real breaks you create during the day, especially at night, the more time your body has. Maintenance time. 9. Growth hormone. Why do many people fear losing muscle, but it's not necessarily true? There's a common fear. Fasting leads to muscle loss. The truth is, any weight loss method carries the risk of losing some lean muscle mass if you don't eat enough protein, get enough sleep, and don't engage in strenuous exercise. But the body isn't stupid. It has mechanisms to prioritize survival. Some human studies show that with longer fasting periods, growth hormone can increase significantly. One study noted that fasting for about 2 days increased growth hormone production by about 5 times in 24 hours. OUP academic, the meaning of this isn't fasting makes you a bodybuilder, but rather, the body tends to protect vital tissues in the context of energy deficiency. But again, don't use that as a reason for extreme fasting. This video focuses on survivable and sustainable fasting. 10. The most important part, practical application framework, no extremes. Okay, now let's summarize it into a method you can try in real life. The goal isn't to fast for the longest time. The goal is to synchronize meals with your circadian rhythm at a level you can sustain. Step 1. Don't change the first meal first. Change the last meal first. If you're currently eating dinner at 9-10 p.m., try moving it to 8 p.m. for 3-5 days. Then move it to 7 p.m. Then 6:30 p.m. You'll be surprised how much less cravings you'll have the next morning if you just move your last meal a little earlier. Step 2. Keep your eating window compact, but don't narrow it too quickly. If you're eating scattered from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 14 hours, shift it back 12 hours. For example, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., then 10 hours, then 8 hours if that works. Don't jump straight to 16-8 if you're eating 15 hours a day. You'll just suffer. Step 3. Prioritize regularity over perfection. Your body likes consistency. Eating one way on weekdays and completely different on weekends, many people find their bodies feel like they're experiencing jet lag. You don't need to be rigid. But if possible, keep your last mealtime fairly consistent. Step 4. If you have to eat dinner late because a family changed the structure of your dinner. If you can't eat early, you can reduce the weight of your late meal. Prioritize protein plus vegetables plus fiber, reduce sugar and fast-digesting carbohydrates. The goal is to reduce the burden of nighttime processing. This isn't dieting. This is making it easier for your body. 11. Signs you're on the right track or stressfully putting yourself on your own? This is the part I want you to listen to carefully. Good fasting is something that makes you lighter over time, not something that makes you as tense as a tightrope. Signs that you're on the right track. Waking up feeling better. Decreased cravings. More stable focus. Not high, but calm. Feeling satisfied with main meals. No need to cheat. Signs that you should stop. Adjust. Frequent dizziness. Irregular heartbeat. Prolonged insomnia. Severe irritability. Increased anxiety. Losing control or obsessing over food at mealtimes. Fasting is a tool, not a moral test. You win nothing by enduring your body's warnings. If you still remember one thing from this video, it's this. It's not just the number of hours you fast that matters. It's where you place those hours during the day, the same eating window. But if you eat late, you're forcing your body to process when it wants to rest. If you eat earlier and let the night rest, you're giving your body time to recover. And if you're someone who can't feel anything, no matter how hard you try, You probably don't need to try to fast any longer. You just need to close the kitchen earlier, more regularly, and let your body breathe. Now, I want to ask you a question to make the next video more relevant to your problem. What time do you usually eat your last meal? And at what time do you most often experience cravings, late afternoon or late at night? Let me know in the comments. And in the next video, I'll address the most common problem many people face when changing their meal times. Why do you crave more at night the more you fast? And how to curb those cravings without forcing yourself. See you in the next video.